This guy's gonna slip up.
That's when we nail him. Let's get busy. I'm John Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after.
My son Callahan and I are fired up. With your help, we're coming for fugitives, hunting them down, and putting them right where they belong, behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. Cops say he allegedly gunned down a couple in cold blood, burned their bodies, and vanished into the woods like a ghost. We're on the hunt for Dylan Harrington. Then, a young mother of 3, 5 months pregnant, shot to death in her car. The man who allegedly pulled the trigger, her boyfriend. We need your help to find Hector Medina Grajeda. And later, he was a respected school principal. Now he's facing a mountain of sex crimes against children.
Everything was shattered in that one moment.
We're on the trail of an accused predator, Jonathan Ulrich. America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series, and we're back. You can run, but you can't hide. Hello, everybody. I'm John Walsh.
And I'm Callahan Walsh.
And this is America's Most Wanted. All new and back with a vengeance.
Tonight, we're tracking down suspected predators, killers, and violent offenders who think they've disappeared, including an alleged squatter who murdered a retired couple at their mountain retreat.
We'll talk with YouTube host Flash Shelton, known as the Squatter Hunter, about these dangerous and sometimes deadly intruders who take over homes.
With your tips, this guy could be a whole lot closer to a jail cell than he thinks. And to date, you've helped us take down 1,198 fugitives, each capture bringing answers and justice to families torn apart by violence.
One thing never changes at AMW. You can run, but you can't hide. Let's get to work on our first case. Dave and Geraldine Covey were devoted parents and proud grandparents, soulmates who shared a quiet spot in the Washington wilderness. But what started out as a wonderful weekend getaway turned into a deadly nightmare.
Authorities urge residents to be on the lookout for a 25-year-old man.
It was just so shocking.
2 senior citizens were murdered and burned up.
The gruesomeness of this, it doesn't make any sense.
My relationship with my mom was very close. You know, she was a single mom that raised me. She was an incredible person.
She was single. My dad, Dave, was single. It just kind of hit it off from there.
Go get it.
Dave and my mom made each other very happy.
They got married June 19th, 1999. They definitely were living their golden years, enjoying life.
When not spending time with friends and family, Geraldine and Dave Covey retreated to their weekend getaway in Chesaw, Washington.
It was beautiful. It was green, and they loved it up there. But as beautiful as it is, there's just kind of an evil and sadness.
The property in the winter was generally shut down due to the extreme weather, but my mom discovered that her power bill increased in the middle of winter. She knew there should be absolutely zero power usage up there at that time. So they went up there to see if something was going on. I had called my mom over the weekend, and she didn't answer, which is extremely uncommon for her.
After 2 days of no contact, Debbie and Dean get a call that their parents' pickup truck has been found about a mile from their Chesaw property, with one of their dogs inside.
At that moment, I knew something was wrong. My mom was not going to leave her truck, and my mom would never leave those dogs.
We were just worried, and I told my husband, I think we need to go up and look for him, and I'm going to call the sheriff's office. My husband and I drove immediately up there.
Proceeded to Chesaw. You know, we just aren't sure what we're going to run into.
When we first get there, we went straight to the trailer. You could tell They had not been there. They had not slept there. They had not cooked there.
I saw fresh footprints. I thought it was really strange, so we followed the footprints.
The tracks led Steve and the deputy to a neighboring property where they discovered a dilapidated cabin.
It's an old homestead. Most of the roof was falling in. I proceeded to walk in, and somebody has been there. Somebody was squatting, and there was a motorcycle, one of Dave's bikes. What is it doing in this cabin? Things weren't adding up. We were all really worried about what was going on. At the backside of the cabin, I see a man. I yelled at him, freeze. He looked at me and then took off.
In the dilapidated cabin, they found boxes addressed to Dylan Harrington. So my officers ran a query search on Dylan Harrington. It showed that he was 25 years old. Doing our interviews with members of the community, we found that Dylan lived below the radar. He was living off-grid. He would work odd jobs to survive. We didn't come back with anything of major concern.
Darkness falls on day 3 of the Covey's disappearance, and hopes dim as the search resumes the following morning.
Something's really, really wrong now. Where could they be?
The search ramped up. I started to walk around the area. Near the door of the Covey's fifth wheel trailer, you could see a substantial amount of blood in the snow. And then deputies located a path down to a burn pile that had a wooden structure on top of it. Underneath that structure, I observed what looked like 2 charred bodies. We believe that Dylan Harrington is the suspect in the homicides.
The sheriff said that he had found our parents, however, that they had been murdered. Their whole life changes in a second. It's just devastating.
Let's take a closer look at the suspect, Dylan Harrington. He's Caucasian, 29 years old, has brown hair and hazel eyes, is 5'9" and weighs 145 pounds. Harrington is a survivalist, able to live off the land for extended periods in rugged and remote areas. The U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to Harrington's capture.
Coming up, investigators piece together Dave and Geraldine Covey's final moments and how they walked straight into a killer's path. Then, a pregnant mother of 3 is found shot dead in her car. We need your tips to find the dirtbag who allegedly pulled the trigger and vanished without a trace. And later, a trusted school principal facing child sexual abuse charges ditches his ankle monitor and bolts. But first, we need your tips to help us find this lowlife. Please, take a good look. Washington, D.C., a late-night burglary where these 3 thieves make out with thousands in merchandise. Just before 3 a.m., a dark-colored sedan slowly pulls up to the Creep Clothing Smoke Shop on Minnesota Avenue. Suspects approach the building, one holding a brick in his hand. Moments later, that brick smashes through the glass. It's calculated burglary. The 3 suspects grab electronics, merchandise, and anything they can carry. One by one, they climb over the counter into the employee-only area. On surveillance, a suspect is clearly seen rummaging through a storage closet, digging through boxes like he knows exactly what he's looking for. The suspects, believed to be 3 black males, are seen wearing dark hoodies and face coverings. If you recognize any of these suspects, call 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. You don't want to miss what's next. Now, welcome back. A sweet retired couple heads to their mountain home, only to be ambushed and murdered. Now the suspect, Dylan Harrington, is on the run.
Who would find two senior citizens and brutally murder them?
From that burn pile, investigators located footprints leading down to Dylan's cabin. Inside the cabin was firearms and ammunition confirmed stolen from a burglary the previous summer. I believe when the Coveys arrived at their property, they surprised the suspect.
They threatened that they were going to call the sheriff's office, at which time he panicked, and then he allegedly shot them. Then he dragged their bodies to the fire pit and allegedly sets their bodies on fire.
What was left of them after what he had done could fit in a small cardboard box. I mean, it was unbelievable. Over $10 in power.
I don't dwell on how they died, but I know they're okay. We're not, but they are.
The last known sighting of Dylan Harrington was on February 15th, 2022, the day Steve Springer spotted him near the cabin.
We believe Dylan has adapted to slip through the cracks. He did not have a job. He did not have an active bank account. Very little use of social media.
We believe Dylan Harrington is armed and dangerous. I believe Dylan Harrington could do this again, and it would be not even a hiccup in his life.
When he is apprehended, I'm hoping justice is served.
It just takes one person to say something. Maybe they don't think it's important, but it is.
Joining us now is Flash Shelton, known as the Squatter Hunter, host of his own popular YouTube show. A nationally recognized force taking on squatters, exposing scams, and fighting for homeowners across the country. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, just like the Harrington case, you noticed a spike in the electric bill that tipped you off to squatters in your mother's home.
Yeah, that's correct. My father had passed away. I moved my mom in. We tried to sell the house, and there shouldn't have been anyone there. There shouldn't have been an electric bill. And then I witnessed 3 cars and 7 people walking out of the house that morning while I was watching the property.
That's crazy. I mean, what's going through your mind?
All I could think of is if they could take a house, I could take a house. So I got 7 squatters out of my house in less than a day.
Wow. And now you help others get squatters out of their homes.
Yes, because for squatters, it's a game to them. They might look like your neighbor, but they're able to put their head down on their pillow and sleep at night knowing that they're absolutely tormenting and destroying families.
What do you think Dave and Geraldine could have done differently now looking back? When they noticed that electric bill rise, what should they have done?
Well, I mean, I promote cameras and security system. You know, there's got to be some way of documenting things. An alarm system. If somebody goes into your house, you'll have law enforcement response. The other thing is you can register a non-trespass with the local law enforcement. So if someone is there, they can be arrested on the spot.
That's a great tip. Based on your experience with squatters, do you think Harrington is a professional or just a desperate kid?
At the time of the murders, he had only been living this way for about a year. So I didn't see him as a professional squatter. I felt that he was trying to find his own way. At this point, he has years of experience, and I believe that his survival skills have kicked in, and he's used to now living like this.
Likely getting better and better at his craft.
Yes, he is going to be in remote locations, possibly a campground, and he's going to be going on the outskirts. I think trail cameras, when you're looking for someone like this individual, can be very useful.
Now, Dylan was local to the area, so what should AMW viewers be on the lookout for?
Well, we know that he was doing odd jobs for a living. He might have the handyman mentality of doing things for neighbors and, you know, whatever. And
cash under the table.
Cash under the table. He's most likely not working a regular job. That means that he has good resources in the area, friends, people that might trust him. So reach out to them and appeal to them to help him do the right thing.
You've got your own network of these squatter hunters out there trying to help you do what you do best and get these homes back to the rightful owner. But in a case like this, I'm sure your viewers would eat this up.
You know, my viewers are very vigilant, even when dealing with somebody who just wrote a bad check. I think this is going to hit home with them, and if they notice anything about anyone, I expect them to bring it to you.
With the AMW viewers and the squatter hunter viewers, this world's going to be a lot smaller place for this guy.
I agree with that, 100%.
Flash, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's take another look at Dylan Harrington. He's Caucasian, 29 years old, has brown hair and hazel eyes. He has facial hair on his chin, but he may be shaved. He was last seen in Chesaw, Washington, when Dave Covey's son-in-law spotted him near the cabin. Harrington has family ties to Omak and Spokane, Washington, but he may have slipped across the border to Canada or across state lines to Idaho or Montana. The U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to Harrington's capture. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to our site, amwtips.com.
Coming up, she was a loving mother, sister, and friend, pregnant with her 4th child when she was brutally murdered. Now her heartbroken family needs your help to bring this alleged killer to justice. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Cindy Cardenas was a devoted mother trying to break free from a toxic relationship. But when she went to confront her boyfriend one last time, she drove straight into a deadly trap.
I'm so angry. She was a mother of 3 little girls. She was actually pregnant with her 4th little girl. They don't have their mom anymore. My name is Abigail Garcia. I am Cynthia Cardenas' niece. She was like a sister to me. She was my best friend. I'm taking a video.
Cindy was a great mom. She was always smiling. We loved her so much. She was 22 when she got married. She had 2 little girls first, and then the last one came 6 years later. She always made sure the girls had everything they needed.
When Cindy and her husband separated, she started having a little fun for herself, something that for many years she really didn't do. She started to get out there. She would go to the bar, you know, she was having a good time. And then Hector came along. Hector was just Cindy's type. He was manly, he had the muscles, and she was attracted to his physical appearance. He just came from Mexico about 6 months ago. He really didn't speak any English, and that's truly all we knew of him. He really didn't engage with anyone. Hector's relationship with Cindy just seemed more possession than love.
It was never love, no. It didn't look like love.
A few months passed, and Cindy finds out that she's pregnant. She calls me, she tells me, I truly believe Hector's not the father. Hector ended up saying, I want to be here for you and the baby. I couldn't believe that he was fine with that. You know, Hector didn't seem like the type to raise another man's child. On August 27th, 2022, we were celebrating my cousin Juan's birthday.
Cynthia was there, and she was happy. Her bump was showing.
We were all just having fun, and all of a sudden, Hector showed up, and just everything changed.
Hector seen one of the cousins talking to Cindy, and then he goes out of control. I thought he was gonna shoot me. Suddenly, his brother, Eleazar, came and grabbed Hector, and they ran off.
I think that's when Cindy realized, how dangerous Hector was. I think she was terrified. Cindy wanted to keep her girls safe, and she was pregnant with a baby girl. After that night, it wouldn't be acceptable anymore to have Hector around. She ended up driving back to Bessemer that night to end things with Hector for good.
That was the last time I heard from her. We kept calling her, and Cindy never answered the phone.
Something in me just told me you have to go. When I first got to my Aunt Cindy's, I see her cars running. Cindy was kind of slumped over. I said, "Cindy, wake up, did you fall asleep?" And I pulled my hand back and it was covered in blood.
Bell for 911.
I just pulled up to my aunt's house and, she's bleeding. Cindy, oh my goodness, she's not responding.
When I arrived on scene, there was blood on the dashboard. It appeared the victim was shot at close range.
I noticed no signs of a struggle at all of her trying to get away or someone trying to get at her. I don't think she even saw it coming.
Let's take a closer look at Medina Grajeda, who's wanted for capital murder. He's a Latino male, 28 years old, 5 foot 8 inches tall, and 175 pounds. If you recognize him or have any information on his whereabouts, we want to hear from you. And remember, you can remain anonymous. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, police zero in on how the suspect got away and a brother who provides the first big break in the case. And later, a school principal accused of child sex crimes cuts off his ankle monitor, leaves a chilling goodbye note, and slips into the night. But first, we really need your help tracking down these dirtbags. Chevy Chase and Bethesda, Maryland. Shocking footage of defiant young crooks loading up on stolen merch in broad daylight. Cops say 7 thieves ripping off major retailers made off with thousands of dollars in goods over a 4-month period. And talk about brazen, the crew even robbed some stores more than once. The heist began in August 2024. A CVS employee filmed this lowlife stuffing what looks like gallons of detergent into a huge tote. 2 months later, at a Gap clothing store, watch as one perp throws piles of sweaters into a bag, while a cohort scoops up kids' clothing by the handful. Police believe these shady shoplifters are connected to at least 11 incidents in 4 locations across the county. On April 3rd, 2025, 24-year-old Tyrone Harrington, the alleged ringleader, was arrested. Also arrested, Erliana Lakeisha Brown. A person of interest has been identified as 39-year-old Ernest McKeechan. But there are still 4 suspects at large. If you recognize them, send us your tips at 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. More cases after the break. Welcome back. 3 little girls are now motherless after Cindy Cardenas was allegedly gunned down by her coward boyfriend. I'll talk to Cindy's family in a moment about the heartbreak they're living every day. But first, detectives piece together the suspect's escape and discover where this alleged killer might be headed.
Cynthia Cardenas was pronounced dead at 5:51 a.m., and it appeared that she'd probably been dead for a couple hours.
We definitely want to find out what happened in the wee hours of the morning. Why would you shoot her? Why would you kill her while she was 5 months pregnant?
Deep inside, we all know who did it. We believe that Cindy went to end things with Hector for good that night, which could have triggered him.
One thing we learned about Hector, that he did not drive. Hector always caught a ride with his friend, Ramon.
We want to talk to Ramon because we know he drove Hector to the party that night. And then we lucked out on finding Ramon's truck because it hit our traffic cameras. We put him in the area of Cindy Cardenas. This connects Hector and Ramon on the morning that Cindy was killed.
We went by Ramon's house found Ramon in his bedroom. At that point, we ended up detaining him.
So I advised him to tell the truth, the whole truth.
Ramon was very reluctant about talking, but I could tell that he was nervous. It took probably an hour or two to get him to break.
Yo le decía, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? No, pues dice, es que maté a mi novia, dice, la maté. Estaban locos. Lo llevé a Tennessee.
What city, what hotel?
Lebanon, Daisy, creo, Daisy.
Ramon also tells us that he drove Hector and his brother Eleazar to Lebanon, Tennessee, where they threw their phones out the window. They were truly on the run.
By the time we got our warrant, Hector and his brother was gone.
10 days after Cindy's murder, police finally catch a break.
I got a call from Laverne Police Department south of Nashville, Tennessee. They had Eleazar in custody. He turned himself in to them.
So they asked him where his brother was. And he said his brother went in the woods to kill himself. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. So they went to that area and they found nothing. I think Hector told him to turn himself in and get him off his trail.
Hector is still somewhere out there getting to live his life.
I think it's been the 2 worst years of our lives. And I miss her, like, just her.
If I was able to talk to her, I just would want her to know that we love her. We think about her daily. We all do. But it's just tough. Cindy's killer didn't just destroy her life, he destroyed all of our lives.
I'm now joined by Cindy's sister and niece, Myra and Abby. First, I'm so sorry for your pain. Thank you for being so brave to come here today, and I'm hoping that we can end that pain and catch this coward.
Thank you, sir, for having us.
Do you know how this relationship got so toxic?
We actually don't know how it started. One time we went out to eat, only girls.
Right.
And then my sister received a message and said, "What are you doing in that restaurant?" And she was like, "How he knows we're here?"
So he was obsessive, possessive creep.
Yes, sir.
Did Hector get more aggressive when Cindy got pregnant?
I think he tried to control her more. I actually think my sister didn't want him around. We actually think that she probably wanted to finish after what he did that night in the party.
What did he do at the party?
He just thought somebody was looking at my sister. He got a gun out. I'll try to say, like, put that away, there's kids. And he just aggressively got it and pointed in my face. I thought I was gonna die,
You did?
Yes.
Right.
I couldn't say nothing else. I was like in shock, like silenced. And I told her, like, it's time to get away, And I know she was trying to get away from him, but he would not let her get away, And now it's too late to ask for stuff like that,
How pregnant was she?
She was 5 months.
5 months, so she was along.
She was.
People need to turn this coward in before he flips again. What did he do for a living?
He installed fire sprinklers in buildings.
Right. So that's a good clue.
They would travel to different states,
Yeah.
And when that happened, they were traveling in Tennessee,
They also worked in North Carolina in the past. He's out there somewhere else. He could be starting a whole new life with another woman. She might have no clue how dangerous he really is.
Right. If you could go back in time to that party, what would you tell your sister?
If, we're all so close. I just wonder why you didn't feel comfortable telling us how dangerous he was.
Mm-hmm.
You know how we all would have jumped in to help.
But she was...
And I'm so sorry that, you didn't feel like you could.
What would it mean to your whole extended family if he was captured?
It would mean to bring us some peace.
Peace.
So know that somebody that is a terrified person and so dangerous is off the roads.
You're a brave lady, you know that. Your whole family's brave. You're honoring your sister. And this guy has to be caught. He's beyond dangerous. We're gonna do our best to hunt this guy down. He can run, but he can't hide, and I am praying it comes soon because this family deserves some peace.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us here and
Giving us the opportunity to talk about her case.
having hope now, a little bit of hope.
It was great meeting you, and hopefully the next time I see you, it'll be a happier time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cal, let's take another good look at Hector Medina Grajeda. He's a Latino male, 28 years old, 5'8", and weighs 175 pounds. Medina Grajeda is wanted for capital murder in the death of Cindy Cardenas, who was found shot to death in Bessemer, Alabama. The suspect was driven to Lebanon, Tennessee by his brother and a friend, where he spent the night in a hotel and threw away his cell phone. Other places Medina Grajeda could be hiding. Police got a tip he could be in Little Rock, Arkansas. He also has family in several places, like North Carolina, where he has a brother, and Chinipas and Sinaloa, Mexico, where he has more family. If you have any information on Medina Grajeda's whereabouts, your identity will be protected. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, a respected school principal is accused of horrific child sex crimes and disappears without a trace. Now we really need your help to lock him up for good. Then, survivor and victim advocate Kara Robinson Chamberlain, herself abducted as a teen, joins us to help track him down. You can make a difference. Welcome back. He was the picture of trust, a respected elementary school principal, until he was unmasked as a child predator. Jonathan Ulrich was about to face some very tough justice. Then he ripped off his ankle monitor and vanished. Now, we want to warn our viewers, this is some disturbing stuff. Parental discretion is advised.
Jonathan Ulrich is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm Pamela Anderson. I'm an Assistant District Attorney General for the 22nd Judicial District. The allegations in this case are rape of a child and aggravated sexual battery. At the time these crimes occurred, Jonathan Ulrich was a first grade elementary school teacher.
I met Jonathan Ulrich when I worked in a school where he was the principal. I was teaching there, and we just began talking. He was very intelligent and charming. He was very well respected. In fact, he was awarded Teacher of the Year one year. We courted for about a year before we got married. I really thought that I had found someone. But over the years, Jonathan seemed to change. He became more agitated. And he would even say he had a dark side that nobody knew about. One day, I had a conversation with children close to our family. These children revealed to me that Jonathan had touched them inappropriately. Everything was shattered in that one moment. It was devastating.
Jonathan Ulrich's wife reached out to law enforcement and advised us that Jonathan Ulrich had been molesting children.
The victimization occurred from the time that they were 11 through 13.
But without having evidence, we couldn't just take him into custody. So the detectives were able to gather statements of witnesses, and they went and got in front of a grand jury to seek indictments.
Authorities obtained an order of protection that would ensure that the victims in this case could not be contacted. The defendant had to stay away from them.
Deputies were trying to serve the order of protection on him. Deputies pulled up to the house and they saw Mr. Ulrich, but he immediately ran back in the house and barricaded himself.
This was a very tense situation. It was believed that he had weapons in the home.
After several hours, he finally came out and was taken into custody. When Mr. Ulrich was questioned about the allegations, he kept saying the demons made him do it.
Ulrich faced dozens of charges for the years of alleged sexual abuse against his two young victims. He's released on bond on the condition that he wear an ankle monitor to track his location.
I was afraid of what he was going to do. I did believe he was going to come after me. I believed that I was in danger.
With the trial date approaching, Ulrich's ankle monitor is tampered with and stops moving.
When officers got there, they found the ankle monitor had been removed from Mr. Ulrich and a note indicating that he was potentially going to commit suicide.
According to his note, he gave coordinates where he would be found, which of course was not successful.
He made it look like as if he had jumped off of a cliff into a rock quarry that was full of water. Nothing was ever found there. We don't believe that he was there. Just believe that was his ploy to make it look like he was deceased in hopes that we quit looking for him.
Mr. Ulrich, he is a chameleon who can make himself fit into his environment. Jonathan Ulrich poses a danger to young children. That's why it's so important we bring him to justice and stop the threat.
I pray to God that he is found. I am not a coward, and I'm coming forward for the victims. They deserve to have their day in court. He does not deserve to be free.
To help us with this case is Kara Robinson Chamberlain. She was only 15 years old when she escaped a predator who allegedly had already killed 3 teens. She's now a victim's advocate to help others stay safe. Long time no see. I haven't seen you in 23 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Thank you for being here. You're a brave, brave lady, and you're telling the rest of the world that you will survive. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened to you?
Absolutely. When I was 15 years old, I was kidnapped at gunpoint by a stranger from my friend's front yard. He approached me. He did not look creepy or scary.
Right.
And was able to take me to his apartment where he held me captive for 18 hours, sexually assaulted me until I was able to escape.
And tell me, did the perpetrator get distracted?
He fell asleep.
He fell asleep in his apartment. I always was amazed at how you could do it. You saved your own life, basically.
Thank you. I always try to explain to people that no one is on their guard 24 hours a day.
Right.
I mostly was able to stay calm, gather information, and wait on my captor to become complacent. I went to law enforcement, was able to give them information about my captor. So they were able to take that information and start searching for him.
The cops that I talked to that were involved in your case 23 years ago said it was admirable how brave you were and how much you wanted this bad guy caught so he wouldn't hurt other kids. I commend you on that. Is this fugitive Ulrich like the perpetrator that kidnapped you?
I would say there are some similarities. You have the fact that Ulrich is someone who's not acting impulsively. So this means that he can be a little more dangerous because he's not afraid to wait things out. He can hide in plain sight. He can manipulate people to get what he wants. And that's very similar to my captor.
And I guess it must have been really hard for the victims in this case, saying it's the school principal.
In a situation like this, there's often a power play, and that can be just as captivating as physical constraints. It makes it even more horrifying for a victim to think about disclosing because it's someone that you trusted, and then to go on and try to trust someone else to share that, it's difficult.
Ulrich left a suicide note. Do you think he would ever do that?
People that are committing crimes like this, they are very arrogant, and often suicide comes when there's no other options. In this case, I don't feel like it's likely. I think it's more likely that he's on the run.
Yeah. Why do you think he's been out there so long? Because he's so charming type of guy?
His appearance changes dramatically. And all of the photos that we've seen, he looks different in every single one. So we know that he's a little bit of a chameleon.
Right.
We also know that he knows how to utilize his personality to make himself appear safe.
Do you think he could be working around children now?
I think that we can't rule it out.
Right.
We all have a survival mechanism that notices when something doesn't quite feel right. If something feels weird, go the other way.
Hits you in the gut, follow your stomach.
That's right, exactly.
What would you say to these victims?
People like this, they operate on the ability to control, and very often that is done with fear and with shame. So there's no shame if you've been manipulated by him. He's very good at what he does.
Yes.
There are so many amazing resources out there, and you're not broken. And you're also not defined by this terrible thing that happened to you.
For sure. That's a really good point. Well, it's great to see you.
Yeah.
I hope I see you sooner than 23 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at you, beautiful lady out there telling other people how to be safe. God bless.
Thank you.
Cal.
Okay, here's a close-up on Jonathan Ulrich. He's Caucasian, 53 years old, 5'6", weighs 180 pounds, and has brown hair and blue eyes. He has a beard, but other times he's clean-shaven. He's a motorcycle enthusiast and a fan of heavy metal and thrash, so he could be hanging with other bikers or attending live music venues. At the time of his escape, Ulrich was living in Murray County, Tennessee. He also has connections to New York, where he has family. Let's bring this alleged predator in before he hurts someone else. If he looks familiar or you've seen Ulrich, call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. When we come back, we'll recap all the fugitives we profiled tonight on AMW. Let's keep that catch counter going up. Stay with us.
Let's get these dirtbags.
Welcome back. Let's take another look at the fugitives we're tracking tonight. Dylan Harrington is wanted for the alleged double murder of Dave and Geraldine Covey in Chesaw, Washington. He's Caucasian, 29 years old, has brown hair and hazel eyes, is 5'9" and weighs 145 pounds. Harrington is skilled at living off the land, even in rugged, remote areas, but he could be living in a city, hiding in plain sight. The U.S. Marshal Service is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to Harrington's capture.
Hector Medina Grajeda is a fugitive wanted for capital murder. He allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend, Cindy Cardenas, in her car in Bessemer, Alabama in August 2022. He's a Latino male, 28 years old, 5'8", and weighs about 175 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes, and he was last seen at a hotel in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Jonathan Ulrich is a former elementary school principal and was living in Culleoka, Tennessee when he was charged with multiple child sex crimes in Murray County in April 2023. He's Caucasian, 53 years old, 5'6", weighs 180 pounds, and has brown hair and blue eyes. Ulrich has been seen with or without a beard and wears prescription eyeglasses.
Now, if you have any information about these fugitives, please don't wait. Every minute counts. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or visit amwtips.com. Now, before we go, let's take a quick look ahead to next week at a dangerous fugitive we really need your help to find. Investigators in New York City unravel a deadly web of gang violence and revenge, with two friends trapped in the middle. The suspected mastermind behind it all is still out there. That's next week on America's Most Wanted.
Thank you for watching this week. I'm Callahan Walsh. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
And I'm John Walsh. And always remember, you can make a difference.